wanted to share my experience with advanced data analysis versus Claude. I was using this list of anonymized Seer SEO insights pages that included the published date, some Google Analytics data, and some search keyword data. Uploaded this into advanced data analysis, and it just gave me a description of all of the different metrics in there. I said I wanted some help with an SEO analysis, and it gave me some different options for analyses that it could help me with, such as pages with low traffic, pages with low page one keywords, things that an SEO analyst would look into. And then I told him it could start the analysis. So it started looking through my data, and it did clean up the data a little bit, such as some issues with my published date data and transitioning in the average session duration to seconds, so it could analyze it a little bit better. So it did clean that part up, which was a little helpful. It also created some thresholds for my data to provide lists of pages that met these thresholds if it had low users or it had low engagement, low conversions or anything like that. And so once it finally gave this to me, it wasn't actually able to visualize the data in a table. It kept just being truncated. I asked for different formats and it just wasn't able to help me out. And so it eventually gave me the CSV, which I was able to download, but it just didn't contain a great list of pages, but I didn't do a great job of training it for this exercise either. On the second side, I looked at GPT-4 with the same data, followed the same prompts. And the only difference in what GPT-4 gave me was it was able to give me some tables of these pages to look at. So I was actually able to train a little bit better as I went into it. Now that I was able to visualize it, I think GPT-4 would be interesting for this process just because you're able to use other plugins, such as the Show Me plugin for visualizations or the Link plugin. So once you have these recommendations, you can drill into the actual page content a little bit more. But I really want to talk about Claude since this was my first time using Claude. And the main difference between Claude and the GPT outputs was that after it gave me an overview of the data that I submitted, and I asked for help with an SEO analysis, it immediately started into giving me recommendations based on a high-level review of the data. And so it gave me recommendations for pages that had a higher bounce rate than average. It gave me recommendations for pages that have a high amount of search volume, but a low amount of page one keywords and a low amount of sessions in the data. And so it gave me and it was consulted, like more of a consulting partner within this with some of the recommendations and providing reasoning for why it gave me these data. Said, good job, helped me identify more pages and put those into a visual. So it did that, gave me the reasoning for why I should use this, so a consultative approach, and then optimization tips for that page. But then it said it could help me a little bit further with adding in, I can add things like page speed, links, metadata, just say the word. So I said, okay, let's see. And so it added that to this table. It didn't have access to any link data or any metadata notes or any page speed notes. So I caught it in a hallucination right there. And I said, please make sure all of this data is accurate. Remember to be truthful. And then it redid all of that table of the work it had already done with example only, saying that it did mess up. And then I said, I believe some of the metrics were from the initial file, add those back, and it did. So I think it was interesting to find Claude was more of a consultative partner from the start with this analysis. However, I did notice a little bit more hallucinations so far just from this initial test. I ran out of messages to send it, so I just stopped it there. But definitely interesting in what I've seen in the difference between Claude and GPTs so far.